Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the most creative Terran player out there. In the red, it's the Admiral, GuMiho. But he's up against Micro Jackson in the blue. We have ByuN. A best-of-5 all-Terran showdown in the grand finals of the very first WardiTV Weekly. Yes, every week some great games for the fans, but I'll dole them out for you on a daily basis for the low, low price of smashing that like button. And maybe even subscribing. And Jimmy, what are we at? One more. 1,412 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. The chess boxing match of TVT. Both players with all of their buildings on their own side of the map to start. Which, 1, somewhat rare, 2, somewhat disappointing, and 3, means they're both relatively confident in a macro game on this map. Now, the unit compositions early on, once you work off the barracks factory starport, have a tendency to vary. I expect ByuN to do uncomfortably effective things with medevacs and cyclones. I expect the unexpected from GuMiho, as GuMiho just keeps coming up with new game-changing strategies, and not necessarily for the better. A lot of the time his new strategies, especially in Terran versus Terran, backfire dramatically, but so far everything relatively down the center. We have that second base for GuMiho a little later than ByuN, but GuMiho is opting for just a casual yeah, sure, why not a Banshee? No cloak. Just gonna throw a Banshee out there because, you know what they don't expect when they already have access to Cyclones, Vikings, and pretty much all the anti-air you'd ever want in the early game is going to be a basic air-to-ground unit. So, GuMiho setting up, waiting, watching, lurking, loitering, depending on how charitable you want to be. And, of course, ByuN has loaded up a Cyclone and 4 Marines into a medevac and is going to micro them or die trying. And maybe both. Now, if your opponent is already in position with multiple Cyclones, this could backfire horribly. Especially when you boost the medevac before even getting to the opponent's base, which is a risky move in and of itself. Grenade actually bounces things back. The Cyclones could lock onto the medevac, but he manages to break the lock. The Banshee's on the way across. And the early exchanges, nothing devastating for either side. Oh wait, but a Reaper Hellion gets in. So far, a handful of units killed, but the Banshee just kind of glides in. Marines coming down. Cyclone might be able to lock on. Indeed it does. And, well, not quite enough. That Banshee will likely die, but oh my, he's repairing it. Can actually out-repair the damage of the Banshee and gets to the back corner. Oh, another Banshee gets intercepted by the medevac. Look at the Viking looks at it and says, look what they must do to mimic a fraction of our power. But the Cyclone and the medevac able to snipe off the second Banshee, thus negating some. GuMiho has decided to take us to McDonald's, and ByuN will notice that immediately. But a second factory has completed. And Gumi bro, what do we have? It looks like a classical mech style. So there's the Hell Clone, Battle Mech, like Mass Cyclone style, which is not particularly effective against anything in Terran versus Terran, besides other Cyclones, ever since the Cyclone was kind of adjusted again. And then there's the classical mech, which is Siege Tanks and Vikings. And quite literally right now, GuMiho is going Siege Tanks and Vikings, and well, technically SCVs as well, but that is the entire army. The SCV's trying to repair. Viking hits the deck. Siege Tanks putting a lot of damage on the table. And the Vikings finishing off the rest. 6 SCVs dead, but GuMiho already has his 3rd command center done. Which means it's scanning ByuN's production. But GuMiho is at 2 factories and 2 starports. And he has a quicker 3rd command center. The biggest struggle with mech is getting your infrastructure up. Getting enough factories, enough starports, enough upgrades. Since all of those things cost gas, barracks and engineering bays do not cost any Vespene gas, which allows you, obviously, to get them more easily and upgrade those units. Of course, mech units are stronger in a heads-up fight, but it's that upfront cost that you have to pay just to get any level of production out there that really stalls out a lot of mech builds. But GuMiho, not one to be stopped. He knows the best defense is a very active offense. The Ravens are caught out. GuMiho will lose the air control advantage, the Viking advantage. But he knocks out multiple Ravens. ByuN did opt for interference matrix, but now with, well, significantly less Ravens, obviously he's not going to be able to use that very easily. So the Ravens may have been able to just dismantle, since interference matrix works on mech units, and that's everything GuMiho has. They might have been able to just dismantle the entire tank line and run it over, but GuMiho has traded the Vikings for the Ravens. It pays off. Odin would be proud. And no, he wouldn't. But if anyone would, GuMiho with a fusion core in production. And he's not, this is not for liberal. I mean, eventually advanced ballistics, maybe he's getting a tech lab on the starport. Gumi bro is going battle cruisers. He's got a bit of air control. He's got enough siege tanks. He's got the economy. And he has a dream. And that dream is to actually bring out battle cruisers. Now, Terran versus Terran is probably the most likely matchup to see him nowadays. Especially once you have air control, you have that mech. The big weakness is lack of mobility. You can't get out there like medevacs can boost around. You can't stim your tanks. Maybe next patch. And a battle cruiser. Okay, battle cruiser in production. Will he add any extra starports? We're at only 2 factories and 2 starports right now. So GuMiho's kind of stalled out on his production. He sees this army coming out. The Vikings try to take pot shots at their counterparts with the blue paint. And so far, the tank standoff, siege off will continue. The barracks eating some of the hits. There aren't that many Marines here. He's about to finish 1-1. The battle cruiser will dislodge this position, but it's still about 30 seconds out. That thing costs more than a command center. And there is still a Raven on the field. That interference matrix disables battle cruisers just like any other mech unit. It is actually, of course, Terran has the hardest counter to battle cruisers themselves, being the designers of them. Yamato cannon is being researched. The fusion core spinning up and 2 armories next to it. And that's important to point out, is that GuMiho's not going to have those mech upgrades. Instead, he's relying on the sheer strength of his unit composition, and that will pay off to an extent. The problem is that ByuN already has +2 infantry weapons and armor on the way. So we haven't had a significant exchange back and forth. GuMiho has 82 SCVs, which is right borderline too many. A scan in the main, though, will spot Yamato cannon on the way. 2 starports slapped down immediately as ByuN. If you can't beat them, or even better, if you want to beat them most efficiently, you join them and use that mobility that the bio army has to get a better economy and directly counter what GuMiho's doing. GuMiho has to cover all his base. He has to have enough siege tanks. He can't risk a drop getting in. Like 4 Hellions driving by doesn't have the same impact as a single medevac of Marines, especially as time goes on. So he doesn't have that sort of opportunity. 3 command centers on the way for GuMiho. Quite a checkerboard of depots boxing out for ByuN's base as well. The scan there. The battle cruiser just casually gliding by. The first cruiser. Oh no. Well, interference matrix. Well.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Well, that was pretty sad. Well, but GuMiho, in his true Bronze League Heroes mindset, the champion of the Bronze League Heroes, Thors and battle cruisers. The Thors for fire support on the ground, mass factory, turrets across the board, so many command centers. Meanwhile, ByuN, not to be outdone, 3 more barracks on the way, multiple starports. He's going to have 5 starports and 8 barracks. The Industrial Revolution has kicked into overdrive. And now, well, the production tabs are taking up a significant percentage of the screen. And high-sec auto-tracking on the way. And while there still hasn't been a really decisive fight... Wow, okay. Scan to finish off a Widow Mine there. We are at risk of the first fight being the last one. As, oh my... Vikings on the ground, one Viking in the air to bait out the Cyclone. 4 command centers for ByuN. Mass Thor for GuMiho. The counter scans. There's a couple Ravens in there. Thors are here. I don't know if GuMiho's ByuN on the other hand is expecting it. Interference matrix on a tank and a Thor, but the rest of the units holding position. ByuN is able to get in a solid siege tank spot to shell up to the high ground. GuMiho moving into position to intercept. Anti-armor missile helping out. The Thor's in high impact mode, which, unless ByuN is willing to clump up all those Vikings, usually a better choice. Jumps over to the side out of the fray, and ByuN's Viking count is too damn high. The Thor's not enough at this stage to drive them out, and there's still some siege tanks on the low ground. ByuN almost dislodged GuMiho. The battle cruiser, another scan. I don't even know what he's scanning for there. Looking for more battle cruisers, maybe? How many orbitals? 4 to 6. GuMiho has the advantage. The Thors are coming down. The orbital command is dying here, but the Thors will pound the point home. Oof. And get a few Vikings on their way out. The battlecruiser survived. Kept ByuN busy back at home. Still mass Marine Marauder production. He's working on 3-3. GuMiho making 5 Widow Mines now, which is a bold choice indeed. Building armor. Well, not that bold. I take it back. It's a interesting choice as something to zone out. A 2 supply turret. But here we go again. Interference matrices on many of the siege tanks. The Vikings can hit the deck and they'll help out a lot, but the Marauders are absolutely crushing the field. And the Vikings casting down the Thors. A heretical move, but... And the Widow Mines at the back actually doing a lot of damage to the Vikings. Thors are forced to retreat again. But Vikings ripping apart all these mechanical units with their damage bonus here. Siege tanks doing a massive number on them. The battlecruiser unchallenged in the sky with the Vikings on the ground. And the battlecruiser might be enough to hold on its own. He's fighting the Marines. Yamato cannon on the Raven. He needs to repair that cruiser. Jumps away. Hellbats and SCVs fighting. Not an ideal situation for GuMiho, to say the least. Struggling to recover. As the weakness, the brittleness of the mech army, even to things like Mass Viking, is on display. I appreciate the attempt, but ByuN, with his mass production, how many? He's building 2 more starports. He has 5 starports to 2. ByuN kind of did the same thing, but better. And also with more mobile units underneath. 19 SCVs dead. Well, building armor is done, but that's a lot of Marauders. Oh, the mules. The mules aren't enough. That is... Wow, he has 17 Marauders. There's still a battlecruiser somewhere. The Hellions trying to run by. Maybe he can find some damage. GuMiho should still be able to max out once more. A fusion core now on the way for ByuN. Looking to intercept this bio army. But GuMiho doesn't even have his 2-2 mech upgrades. He needs a bit more time to cook here. But it appears ByuN is about to kick him out of the kitchen. So the interference matrix does not land quite in time. This isn't a planetary. GuMiho needs to hold. But how many tanks? He has 8 tanks, but none of them in position here. A couple sieging up now. 2-2 just finished. That orbital command actually tanking a lot of the damage. The Hellions! The Hellions helping out a lot. The Vikings kind of unchallenged. Sit that command center back down. The Vikings almost killing it in the sky after it has to lift away from the Marauders. And GuMiho really struggling to get the damage done. ByuN. The scans across the board. How many orbitals? GuMiho's 8 orbital commands. You know what? At some point, maybe it was too many orbital commands. It's not over yet. But ByuN has money in the bank. He's maxed out. Yep, that's a battle cruiser. Still back there. No tactical jump. The Ravens are coming back. And, well, no. A single Liberator. But there are Thors. And ByuN picks up and heads for the main. The missile turrets will force him to redirect. Ooh. If the tanks were a little bit closer when this hit, maybe it could have made the difference. Another interference matrix shushes the battlecruiser. But GuMiho never really found his footing here. And ByuN is more than happy to sweep the leg. The Hellbats on top of a siege tank. Just counterattacking with all his tanks. His production is almost taken out on its own. Those Marauders doing so much damage. The siege tanks get no shots off. More tanks here, but the Mass Raven, he can just lock down all the tanks. I don't know about that Viking drop. He doesn't know either. But the Liberator sieges up and there's not a single anti-air unit. The Thor is here finally, blasting apart the Liberator. GuMiho making a game of it, but look at the supply. He's stutter-stepping the Hellbats to incinerate Marauders. But speaking of Marauders, they're still in the main, and ByuN pulls it apart. I do appreciate the effort. GuMiho's so late on the upgrades. In order to get enough army supply, in order to actually hold the first bio army, GuMiho cut out his armories. He cut out additional production, and that left a window for ByuN to just get a huge amount of pretty much the same stuff, at least Vikings, and shut down the battlecruisers and Thors before they could even really get started. Which, unfortunate yet effective, as ByuN knew his advantages and used them to great effect, which means GuMiho is going to pull one of the classic StarCraft 2 builds out of his Bronze League Heroes pocket. Actually, I don't think Bronze League Heroes do Proxy Rex Reaper. But GuMiho certainly does. Ah, yes. Terran versus Terran. We had a strategic kind of chess match, a bit asymmetric with different sorts of units, mech versus bio, and now we test ByuN's lactose tolerance as the oldest cheese. I guess the oldest cheese is like just Proxy Rex Marine Bunker Rush. But the oldest legacy of the Void cheese, the 2-Rax Reaper Proxy. No, I'm pretty sure we're doing this one, Celebrity too. Anyways, this cheese, it's a very strong cheese. This is half the games on the ladder in TVT. The other half are people just leaving because they don't want to play TVT, as you know. And the other half are battlecruiser rushes. And the other half are people who can't do math. 2 Reapers on the way. ByuN has a spotter depot in position to see exactly this. And of course, be cautious. But will that matter? It comes down to the first. How many does he wait for? Intentionally, GuMiho put this as close as possible to not be spot. Oh, he gets the jump. He gets the first hit. But ByuN retreats immediately. I think he had his suspicions. The bully SCV here. All right, GuMiho. Oh, the boys are pulled. One of them taken out right off the bat. He knows all the timings, I'm sure. Gonna try to get the target fire. The boys bringing him around the corner. Reaper getting extra hits in. Throws the grenade. Misses the mark. And does he have the damage? Uses another shot. Slips into the corner. Another Reaper comes up and he gets the kill. Oh, wow. GuMiho. Great micro to start. Another grenade. He jumps over them. And GuMiho gets out with all 3 Reapers. He gets away with multiple murders. He's going to go back onto the high ground. He has to know the Hellion is a threat, but bounces the grenades. 1, 2, 3, 4. And oh my god, perfect micro from GuMiho. It doesn't get any. He literally lost nothing. He's killed the Hellion. He killed the Reapers. He's killed SCVs. He's gonna use the barracks for high ground vision. Oh, GuMiho. A classic Gumi bro build. And this depot will actually supply block ByuN, which is highly unfortunate. Of course, GuMiho's about to be supply blocked himself, but that should be too many. Finally loses a Reaper. He actually lands the barracks because why not? GG, that's it. GuMiho ties it up. The equalizer is there. And GuMiho with an incredibly well executed 2 racks Reaper build. ByuN, while he scouted it immediately, he didn't scout it with an SCV. He didn't scout it with enough time to actually switch up his build and deal with it, like put a bunker up or even get that Reaper into a safer position. So while he could react, oh my god. Fool me once, and I won't be fooled again. I was gonna say I can't believe, but that would be a bold-faced lie. As ByuN now, how the turntables have turned. ByuN's turn to proxy 2 racks. But GuMiho, SCV scout. He is SCV scout. He's not SCV scouting the back of his natural. But the SCV will get across the map with enough time to realize, well, for starters, there is no barracks in the base, which is what ByuN neglected to do in the previous match. So we will see. Will that give GuMiho enough time to craft a response, or are we just going to keep going back and forth with the proxy Rex? Well, the next game, it's going to be both of them, obviously, right? Like, no matter how this goes. Yep, the scout. There's nothing in the base. It's 2 Rex Reaper proxy. The SCV going to come down, or at least, no, the high ground in order to potentially draw. Just 1 shot is all you need. Believe it or not, Reapers do as much DPS as Reapers. So that allows you to potentially turn it with any amount of shots on that SCV. So GuMiho is ready from the very start here. ByuN, 2 Reapers to 1, but oh wait, a Marine pops out. He gets a bit of damage. GuMiho's Reaper micro is impeccable. Oh my god, he sacrifices the Marine. He doesn't have enough time. He doesn't have, well, he can kill it on the end of the earth, and he gets away for now. Oh my. GuMiho showing ByuN. ByuN, the player who pretty much single-handedly got Reapers nerfed not once but twice. But GuMiho is educating him on the possibilities here. Not like ByuN is slouching, but GuMiho is not making any mistakes. And this certainly is not a game-winning Reaper play. He was able to get a Cyclone out, and that is the end of that. All right. So, how far... The SCVs. Succeeding you, brother. One of the SCVs looks away from the murder. No witnesses. GuMiho will be getting a second command center more quickly, but it is on the high ground. There's a wide open opportunity here, though, for GuMiho to go for a medevac and just send it. Now, that's what ByuN would do in this position. I don't know if GuMiho will go for the immediately aggressive play or a more conservative one, as he has map control and he has a slight lead both in tech and I guess we'll say in economy. The second command center isn't that much quicker, but he is going to have another orbital significantly quicker, so he's actually going to kill one of the barracks outright on the way across. The Reapers try to get in, but now GuMiho moving to intercept. ByuN double expanding. The Cyclone's hunting. I don't know if he spotted it. He'll see it now. He gets a lock. Oh no, the grenade. He's trying to prevent him from getting another lock. He's gonna go up to the high ground, but there's vision. It doesn't matter. The Marines. Down he goes. And GuMiho does go with the medevac. Right now, ByuN has no units besides SCVs, which is not enough to defend. He went for the 3rd command center, so now he needs to survive without taking critical economic damage. These 2 cyclones getting a pick off would be a very important start. Spots it, but it dodges with the medevac. More cyclones on the way, but a siege tank at Viking. The siege tank in okay, he'll siege it up, knocks out the Viking. Scans up to the high ground, realizes, well, the same amount of cyclones with a siege tank on the back line. And GuMiho. There's really no way out of this for ByuN. There's a Liberator on the way, which is a desperation move. GuMiho already has more workers. In fact, ByuN may lose his orbital command here, which would negate any form of... Oh, he just kills it! It's dead! GG, GG. Korean and English. Double GG from ByuN. And GuMiho takes game 3. So, 2 quick games. GuMiho showing how to 2-Rex and how not to 2-Rex back to back. Very kind of him to educate ByuN on both fronts. And now that puts him on match point. We're going to Oceanborn. Now it's your guess. All right, like, subscribe, and then guess how many barracks are on the map. 0. No early shenanigans. Now, if ByuN had succeeded with that 2-Rex, would we have seen it again? I like to think they both would have gone for it. But GuMiho slaps it down with perfect micro. Like, his Reaper micro was perfect these last 2 games. You can't ask for much better. Now, this is the difference between these 2 players. GuMiho SCV scouts again. ByuN blindly builds a command center. ByuN has not SCV scouted. In fact, he's on 1 gas. Obviously, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get a command center at that timing. So, ByuN is trusting his build. He's hedging his bets, whereas GuMiho will cut slightly, so slightly, into the economy in order to get that scout. And now, that SCV, hanging out, waiting for a Reaper to come out to potentially eat a shot or 2. So, oh, the Reaper. He's going to bring the SCV in with it. And it's up to ByuN. If he misses even 1 shot, this could spiral out of control. Oh, there's a Marine. He could delay the command center, but... Is there any getting out? Wait, did the SCV get a hit? GuMiho tries to go to point-blank range and just shoot him in the face, but... He does delay the command center a bit. Not ideal. Loses an SCV himself, obviously. The bodyguard. What do we have now? 2nd Reaper. Ah, shots fired. ByuN takes extra hits, but can retreat to the Marine. GuMiho getting a bit spicy. Starport on the way for both sides. GuMiho gonna have his a little bit quicker for obvious reasons. But a Cyclone as well. Whoa. Cyclone. Wow, perfectly done. GuMiho's micro is so good today. Oh my. The Reaper bounces the Cyclone out of lock range. ByuN's like, hey. What a... You're not allowed to out-micro me? That's my whole thing. GuMiho's like, not that hard. Banshee with Cloak on the way. Again, GuMiho goes for the Banshee. This time, a much more committed version with that Cloak upgrade. Especially against someone who's very likely to be going Raven. In one way or another. But that's part of the reason the Banshee could be so effective, is nobody expects the Banshee, even though game 1 was the play. Because it's so easily countered. So sometimes you just have no defense. The medevac drop, looking for an opportunity. And here are the Marines. Cyclones will just fight them heads up and knock their heads out. Picks up, gets out. Cyclones looking for more. He will spot, potentially. Well, that could be interference matrix for Ravens. Oh my. The Cyclones do escape. Meanwhile, the Banshee. Oh my god, he's out repairing it again. Did he actually kill any SCVs? He's just killed a couple Marines. ByuN countering Banshees with SCV repair. Because of course he is. Third command center's on the way. ByuN going for barracks 2 and 3. GuMiho's production. Is he gonna try mech again? Because he has a lot of gas. In fact, he has a third gas at the natural, but that's not too unexpected in most builds. He hasn't added any other production. He's adding another command center. The Cyclone? You know, the Banshee could actually probably kill it. The lot. Oh my. He gets the supply depot, which very temporarily supply blocks ByuN until he finishes his third command center. So GuMiho just... he hasn't built any other production. He's just sending it across the map right now. Just whatever he has. 2 more factories are on the way. As GuMiho opts for mech yet again. The Banshees are here. Where is the Raven? This attack could... oh, that one sacrificial Marine sees a very suspicious Hellion out there. 3 Banshees? The Banshees are an interesting quantity. The Vikings are here. Oh no, the siege tanks are taking splash damage. He interference matrix. And, this was a good idea out of GuMiho, but ByuN just slaps it down with... yeah, wow. I don't know if it was quite a tap out of the game situation, but GuMiho doesn't have his production up. He doesn't have a standing army. He doesn't have a better economy. It doesn't get any easier from there. I don't blame him for that. Just move on. And we're going to the decider. The final match. Game 5. And how many barracks? On-site Delta. I'm surprised not Amphion. Oh my. Oh, GuMiho. I mean, it works so perfectly for him in Game 2. For the 3rd out of 5 times in this series, we'll have a Proxy 2 Rax Reaper. So, a very solid simulation of the latter experience. And here we go. Alright, ByuN. ByuN once again does not SCV scout. Because SCV scouting is for cowards who don't have a perfect build and split-second reaction times. Right, ByuN? Now we'll see. So this could all just end. This could be over immediately. That first Reaper is everything. If you don't, if he kills the first Reaper out of ByuN, there are no other units. There's nothing left. The Reapers will get SCV kills. It'll spiral out of control. And any damage they take, they can heal. So. And the Reaper spots the barracks. And ByuN gets back up to the high ground. He just cancels the command center. It ain't happening. Keeps that SCV on the high ground. The Reaper, a bit ambitious here, comes in the corner. Gonna try to snipe it off. Marine is built. GuMiho, the grenade off the mark. He may lose that first Reaper. He does. Kills a Marine. And the stutter step. Well, not really step, but the stutter glide on the Reaper is good. As another one comes out, though. One more shot. Is the high ground enough here? He tries to turn it. The high ground and turns it around. The grenade to box him out. But who got the first shot? GuMiho did. And the Reaper survives. And now it's 3 Reapers against just 1 Marine. The SCVs will have to be pulled. He puts the barracks in the sky to make sure he has vision. Because going up to the high ground could be a disaster. But of course that delays any additional production. He sees everything here. But there's going to be a Hellion. There's going to be another Marine. I don't know if that's going to be enough. He tries to drag him off to the side so the Reapers can get in. I don't know about this play. The neighborhood watch is coming. He's trying to go for the Hellion. Loses 1 Reaper. 2 SCVs dead. The barracks is floating around the main. Chasing down more. Delays the command center. More SCV kills. Grenade should be off cooldown. The Hellion itself taking big hits. Good grenade. Loses another Reaper. Another one into the main. Is that the command center finished? Another SCV dies. Reapers come back in. Oh my. Deja vu. I've just been in this base before, killing SCVs, but the Marines are angry. They just... Okay, 6 SCVs dead. Significant delay on the command center, though not so delayed that GuMiho ends up with a faster one. And that's the end. Wow. All right. And that will conclude our final proxy of this series. Well, final proxy Rex Reaper of this series. There's still opportunities for spicy plays, even in this match, but... Will GuMiho opt for the mech yet again? He's getting a 3rd command center already. He's got the... Well, he does have 2 barracks, though neither of them at home right now. Can I take a message? 3rd command center for ByuN. Only a few seconds behind. GuMiho actually has 5 more SCVs, which has a tendency to happen when you murder half a dozen. The Cyclone drop loaded up. What does ByuN have in the air? A Liberator is sent out. Just the smorgasbord of early Terran units. Yet again. And SCVs, 2 of them already dead, make that 3. Gotta be real careful with that medevac. Breaks the lock immediately. Liberator's coming up. Oh. That Liberator gonna get several kills no matter how quickly GuMiho pulls away, and it's not that quick. Oh, the Cyclones. He glides past. A lot of mining time lost, though. Gets a 4th SCV. And while the Liberator is not the cheapest unit, he bought a lot of time and killed a Cyclone as well, so. Wow. Don't ask how that works, but able to lock on there. Awkward exchange, but GuMiho is able to extract. And he is going for bio this time around. It's going to be stim. 2 engineering bays for both sides. And despite our best efforts, it appears we have a macro game on our hands. The Cyclone's still looking around. Slight upgrade advantage for ByuN. Slight, right? 10 seconds. The production is the next most important thing. And ByuN is getting barracks 4 and 5 online right now. Whereas GuMiho is just finishing up barracks number 3. But GuMiho does have several more SCVs. He's going to be able to land his 3rd command center first. So ByuN, I expect sometime in the next couple minutes, he'll kind of, he will take a pretty significant supply lead based on his production. But GuMiho should have enough time to make up for that with a good defensive position. We will see. GuMiho up 12 supply right now, but that can change very quickly if you're just sitting there while the Cyclones kill your medevac. Ooh. Almost everyone dies. One Cyclone survives that full exchange with like 3 HP left over. ByuN picks up 2 medevacs. What is headed out here? 3 Cyclones in what just happens to be... Wow. Oh my, this could be disastrous for ByuN. GuMiho, I don't think he noticed it. The medevacs have that little bit of extra vision. Spots the medevacs out there. The Cyclones... Alright, what are you up to? Where are you going? What's your plan? He spots the siege tank. Gonna kill a few SCVs here. Wow, just barely out of siege tank range. Quite ambitious. He may kill a medevac. He gets 1. 6 SCVs dead, but the double medevac drop in the main. There's no siege tank here. There's a couple Ravens. Interference matrix is done for GuMiho. But ByuN, that supply lead not materializing as GuMiho jumping on all these units. Interference matrices, as well as auto turrets, and the Ravens just cut down the medevacs. Were these supposed to be loaded up? The scan, I don't know what he's trying to accomplish. He cannot afford to take even a single siege tank hit, though, as those units are badly bruised. That is a dangerous game he's playing. GuMiho a bit supply blocked here. I think he lost a supply depot. That finishes up a couple, I think. Another command center, maybe? No. Oh, drops multiple double depots. I think people are too stingy with that. It's such a strong ability. It's just all the other abilities on the orbital command are even more strong, so usually it goes by the wayside. But the upgrade timings are almost exactly even. +1 mech weapons is on the way for ByuN. But GuMiho at 77 SCVs. He's working on that 4th command center. Not on location. ByuN, on the other hand, slapping it down on location. 5 siege tanks. More Marines out on the field. And GuMiho will hit the stims and chase down this small battle group. ByuN, of course, has a counterattack ready. Are there any siege tanks? There's a siege tank jammed in. And we're going into something of a base trade. The Chutoy Depot will serve its purpose. GuMiho scrambles 1 tank. There's more where that came from. This double drop actually gets a beachhead. GuMiho taking his time where ByuN is stimming his way into the natural. The SCVs are pulled, and that will tank a lot of damage. GuMiho does have enough SCVs to burn a few. Meanwhile, though, I think that's an accidental Widowmine, but GuMiho's up 40 supply. It doesn't matter how many special tactics that ByuN uses. Oh no, not again! ByuN! This command center, they just need to cut the ribbon on that thing. But the double drop at the 3rd base, there are not that many Marines left over, but he's going to lose a lot of SCVs here very quickly. GuMiho, the surgical strike of this medevac drop, ends up undercutting the entirety of the attack. He gets the cancel. 2-2 upgrades finish across the board. GuMiho has his 4th command center landed. So even though ByuN is playing hard to get, GuMiho has already gotten the economy he needs. In fact, he needs to rebuild some SCVs, but has lost quite a chunk of them. But GuMiho up 30 supply. Neither player finding the space or the resources in order to get the 3-3 upgrades. But round and round we go. Are there no Vikings? He's building 2 Vikings. GuMiho's 79 Marines on the field, 7 siege tanks. ByuN at 8 and 56. Cyclones intercept a Liberator, tries to go over the high ground, too slow. I think it was fishing for medevacs, but ended up finding... Speaking of medevacs, one just got dunked into the sea by the Vikings. GuMiho's army collapsing. Oof. Siege tank split stims. But the flank from the back is beautiful, and GuMiho just crushes it. Oh my, the Marines come marching in. And GuMiho easily cleans up that army. And ByuN is still stuck on 3 bases. Like, the 3-3 upgrade's on the way. ByuN just realized he didn't start +3 weapons. GuMiho has pretty much every single advantage. He has a couple less siege tanks, but he has Vikings, he has Ravens. He's gonna have the upgrades. He's working on +2 mech weapons. Here he goes. He's just going for the win right here. Attacking into siege tanks. He loses the Ravens. I don't know, Kev. Oh, Gumi throw. Well, that could have gone better. GuMiho, through the magic of Terran, manages to turn a 30 supply lead into just 10. He really felt like he could crush it. His army was way larger, but those tanks were already sieged and the Ravens died immediately. And ByuN, where are you going? The medevacs. He can't help himself. His immediate instinct is pick up and get out. Unfortunately for GuMiho's siege tank count has now dwindled to 3, at least with this army. And that's going to make it a lot more difficult. GuMiho, he lost the critical mass of units to potentially break through ByuN's lines. They both have exactly 67 SCVs. ByuN is now mining from a 4th base, which means GuMiho doesn't have that overwhelming economy this time. And actually intimidated enough to back off entirely from the fight. ByuN jumps on it. 3-3 is about to finish. Liberators on the way. There's nothing... There's only 3 Marines here. The siege up. The Liberators, 1 may be gunned down. Actually, the Marines may just kill the Liberators. Not quite enough. And with that Liberator, single siege tank at the back, he will force the pickup. ByuN, most of his army on the other side of the map, sprinting into a base trade position. The scan, siege tanks get massive hits, but he manages to split some of the Marines. You gotta be so careful. More siege tanks. Just butchering the Marines as they get obliterated, annihilated, and splattered all over the field. And more tanks on the high ground and the low. As the supplies at 150 apiece. GuMiho has a slight advantage. He drops into that 1 siege tank that barely survived. More Marines scattered all over the field. Reinforcements cut off, but the 3rd base for GuMiho. There's so many siege tanks. Oh no. Oh, Gumi, no. GuMiho had every advantage, and he attacked head-on into siege tanks. And there's such a thing as being headstrong, but I don't think there's headstrong enough to deal with that. And now GuMiho, flying back to defend. That planetary fortress will not last long. The reinforcements, he's in range. He's dropping on top of the siege tanks. Yes, a devastating fight for both sides, but there's enough Marines to win the day, and GuMiho will salvage a desperate situation. He's floated his main command center. He's down 30 SCVs. He's got the siege tanks walled off at his main or something. Oh my god. And another huge group of medevacs picks up the survivors and heads out again. GuMiho tried to rebuild SCVs. He has a slight army supply advantage now. ByuN might have the worker lead, but as of this moment, and for a few more... Oh, no, my god. Well, it could have all just ended right there. Until he lands another command center, he can't really mine with as many workers as he has. So, the income advantage isn't massive because there are only so many mineral patches. Liberator siege is up. Liberator's probably the highest potential risk-reward ratio at this stage of the game. Another huge group of Marines. And the Marines get caught again. No, the medevacs! 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the Marines themselves being targeted. Who's winning this fight? He boosts the medevacs in order to heal a little more efficiently, but a couple siege tanks and reinforcements come in, and GuMiho! He runs past the Marines to gun down the medevacs, and he gets most of them. A scan forward. There's nothing here. Half the workers ByuN owns. More Liberators looking to siege up. He scrambles back, but that pulls the unit slightly out of position. The Liberators looking, not finding. Another Liberator. Oh no. GuMiho back down to 30. And the Liberators are going to use their anti-air ability. Rarely seen nowadays. The medevacs just boosting all over the place. It's a disaster piece for both sides. Marines, you hear the stims? Liberators chasing a Liberator. Marines already in position in the middle line as they were trying to deal with the Liberators. But the reinforcements are here. You see on the mini-map, ByuN collapsing on this army. Where did the I have no idea where the Liberators ended up. I think one of them died to a turret. Marine intercepting again. GuMiho still has enough army supply that if ByuN doesn't have his entire army together, and GuMiho has +2 mech weapons to just +1, and that's a big advantage, both against the Marines and in straight-up siege tank fights. ByuN just split off 20 supply. He's gonna kill one of them. There's... the rest of the army is down here. The siege tanks caught between, well, ByuN's 2 armies. There's multiple Liberators trying to protect this base, but not in position to do so in GuMiho. Oh no, there's nothing here to defend. The SCV's on the run. This is an absolute disaster. GuMiho needs to do something now. He goes straight for the base. He's looking at the orbital. Another tank sieges. He won't get the orbital, but he might be able to cut off this location. Reinforcements have arrived. The SCVs are just enough to turn the tides. And GuMiho cleans this up with just a couple Marines to spare. He takes out another command center. Most of ByuN's SCVs are on the run. GuMiho is mining from one base. ByuN is as well. The army supplies in favor of ByuN. The tanks on siege. A risky move. The medevac realizes it. How many command centers are even left? There's only 2 orbitals apiece. The SCVs are headed home. For whatever good that does them. A couple Vikings. Siege tanks in position. Shelling forward. The Vikings can take that down. There are precious few scans right now for either side. The medevac's gonna try to drop on top of the Marines. Will Priest him. He brings in the rest. The tanks need to re-siege. He manages to get one. Here comes ByuN with the full arc. Siege tanks get a volley. Take the tail end of the Marines out. The Vikings. There are only so many medevacs left. ByuN is trying to re-establish what one might call his third base. GuMiho's bleeding out. Quickly. Under high-impact siege tank fire. ByuN wants to drop on the tanks and draw fire. Oh no, another tank dead. The Marines, you know, might as well drop them on the SCVs. It's ByuN's game to lose now. GuMiho's completely let it slip. But not so far. ByuN is now in a similar position to where... well, it's not the same. It truly isn't. But ByuN is ahead, but it's not out of reach. One bad attack into siege tanks, as both sides know, can turn everything around. GuMiho rebuilding SCVs. And actually has the income lead, I think, just based on mineral patches. Yeah, ByuN is going for this side base. Oh, that's not enough Marines. That's not enough medevacs. It's just not enough stuff. The Vikings can chase down. GuMiho getting Marines shaved off the back. He's in sensor tower range here. Oh no. Those tanks on the low ground. GuMiho has a weird spread to him. And a medevac loaded up, but enough Marines to zone it out. He wants ByuN to fight into him at this point. He knows. Wow, GuMiho actually has a huge income lead. He's dropped some mules and he found some... Because he wasn't mining from his third base for so long. It still has a decent amount of minerals. Trying to pull something together. His best chance is getting back to 200 supply. And picking a huge fight. Still at 2 orbitals apiece. Neither player has made a command center in quite a while. Balancing out that game 1. Oh, those Marines are so bruised. Oh, ByuN just stimming forward. There are no siege tanks in support. One siege tank turns the tide for now. But ByuN realizes he has the angle. GuMiho, 6 to 12 tanks. Where are those 12 tanks? Only 2 of them here. ByuN covering his bases with them. He has so many tanks spread out back at home. Will he take them forward? Or is he just planning on sitting back? The Viking count, 4 to 4. What a tense game. And a sensor tower will come up at exactly the wrong time for GuMiho. The Vikings might be able to take down one of these medevacs. No! The Marine's dead as well, but there might be enough Marines to win this fight. Unfortunately, they're disjointed. Kills a few more SCVs. And ByuN is actually behind in SCVs. Another orbital moves over. Wait, yeah, okay. He has a planetary and 2 orbitals. ByuN only has 2 command centers in total. That planetary holding it down, but the base is almost mined out. ByuN looks like he's ready to bring his tanks forward. Not gonna let GuMiho pull him apart again. That one tank on the low ground. He actually pre-sieges there. Ooh. The tanks are all spread out for GuMiho. Look at that spread. I can't believe it's not butter. Oh no, these Marines are on the wrong side of history here. Big hits, but the medevacs are healing through. That's not enough units for GuMiho. He doesn't have enough Marines. He doesn't have enough tanks. And he doesn't have enough in general. ByuN survives. 357 to 347 Marines dead. That ByuN presides over the ashes. A tough match for GuMiho. I think, once again, putting on some great games for the fans. A very tough Game 5 that really... We've all been there. It's good to see that relatable strategy of attacking directly into siege tanks when you think you're too big to fail. But, at the end of the day, it was still just a little bit too much. So, ByuN is the champion of your first WardiTV Weekly. I look forward to many more. I hope you enjoyed. I hope if you got the means and motivation, you can check out Patreon or YouTube membership or Wardy, of course. I'm supporting it as well in order to be able to check out these amazing games. So I'm looking forward to more. And otherwise, if you haven't yet checked out the second channel, that'd be awesome. Winter Gaming TV for more content and streams and all that. And otherwise, I hope I made your day just a little bit better. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.